Have you ever looked at your change jar and thought, maybe there's a hidden treasure in here? Well, I've got a wild story for you today that might just make you want to take a second look at that pile of pennies you've got stashed in a drawer somewhere. I'm talking about the 1972 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. And guess what? This tiny little coin, no bigger than a dime, is worth a jaw-dropping $2.5 million in the current market. I know. It sounds crazy, right? But it's true. So, grab your magnifying glass because we're diving deep into why this penny is a holy grail for collectors and what you might have been tossing out all these years without even realizing it. Okay, so let's get into the juicy details. Most pennies you see are stamped with a mint mark, either an S for San Francisco or a D for Denver. But here's where things get interesting. Some 1972 pennies came out of the Philadelphia Mint with no mint mark at all. And trust me, these rare pennies are worth more than a coffee run at Starbucks. Now, you might be thinking, okay, cool, a penny with no mint mark. What's the big deal? It wasn't supposed to happen. See, all the pennies minted in Philadelphia were supposed to have a mint mark, but for some reason, a few pennies slipped through the cracks and they got released without it. Now, collectors absolutely freak out when they find one of these bad boys because it's so rare. It's like finding a needle in a haystack, except the needle is worth $2.50 million. But why are these specific pennies worth so much? Well, it all comes down to rarity and demand. In the world of coin collecting, if something is rare and people want it, the value skyrockets. Imagine you're at a yard sale and someone has a rare signed baseball card and you just happen to find it in a pile of old magazines. You're not going to walk away without asking, hey, what's the price? Because you know it could be worth a small fortune. Same deal with these 1972 pennies. Let's talk about how you can actually find one of these elusive pennies. First off, don't go raiding your local coin jars just yet. You've got to know what you're looking for. Grab a magnifying glass or some good lighting and start inspecting the date on those pennies. The 1972 no mint mark is not too hard to spot, but you do need to be looking carefully. If the 1972 penny looks normal and is in good condition, but there's no mint mark next to the date, you've got yourself a serious contender. Keep in mind, condition plays a big role in the value. A penny in great shape is worth far more than one that's been through the ringer. I remember when I first started coin collecting, I thought I had found the holy grail with a rare penny I found at the bottom of my grandma's couch cushions. But after hours of researching and cleaning it, yes, I may have accidentally damaged it, but we don't talk about that. I realized it was just a regular 1980s penny. Lesson learned. But that didn't stop me from learning more, and eventually, I found a couple of rare coins that made up for my earlier mistakes. You just have to know what to look for. Here's where the excitement builds. If you've got a 1972 penny with no mint mark, and it's in good condition, you're already looking at a few $100s. But if you find one in mint condition, well, you could be sitting on a small fortune. Up to $2.5 million, to be exact. Well, that's cool and all, but how do I know if my penny is worth millions? Great question. You'll need to check its condition. Coins are graded on a scale from poor to mint, and this can make a huge difference in the value. A penny in near-perfect condition, no wear, sharp details, and no significant damage could bring in millions. But don't expect to get rich off a well-worn penny from your pocket change. Sorry, folks. The wear and tear from all those years of circulation really lowers its worth. The 1972 no mint mark penny that's worth $2.5 million was found in a personal collection, which shows you that the right person, the right timing, and a little bit of luck can make you a coin millionaire. If you think you've got a rare 1972 penny without a mint mark, it's time to get it appraised. Don't just go posting it on eBay right away. I mean, you could, but you don't want to get scammed, and you want to make sure you're getting the best price. Head to a reputable coin dealer or hire a professional to evaluate your coin. If it's worth the big bucks, they'll help you figure out how to sell it. And remember, the value of a coin can change over time. Some years, the market might be crazy hot for a specific coin, and other times it can cool down. So if you're in no rush, you might want to hang on to it for a while and see how things go at SO. Folks, there you have it. The 1972 no mint mark penny is a game changer for coin collectors. Whether you're a newbie or a seasoned pro, this coin proves that sometimes a small, seemingly insignificant object can hold massive value. So, take a look at your change jars, dig through your pockets, and maybe, just maybe, you'll find a hidden gem worth millions. But don't just take my word for it. Check your coins, keep an eye out for those rare pennies, and keep learning about the world of coin collecting. Trust me, you never know what you might find. Before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I've got plenty more tips and tricks for you on coins, values, and strategies that could help you build your very own collection. Join me next time for more stories, secrets, and, hopefully, your next big find. Did you know that a single penny, a coin most of us toss aside without a second thought, could be worth more than your entire car, your house, or maybe even your dream vacation? Sounds too good to be true, right? Well, buckle up, because today we're diving into a mind-blowing story about a 1991 penny that could be worth a whopping $2.8 million. Yep, you heard that right. A penny. And no, it's not a joke. I promised so. What makes this penny so special, and why is it causing a stir in the coin world? Keep watching as we break it all down. By the end of this video, you might just find a hidden treasure in your couch cushions. Or, if you're like me, you'll have a newfound obsession with pennies. Trust me, this is a story you won't want to miss. Alright, let's start with the basics. You're probably thinking, a 1991 penny? That's just a regular penny, right? Well, for most of us, yes, it's just another copper-clad disc with Abe Lincoln's face on it. But what if I told you that one single penny, one that's almost 30 years old, could sell for $2.8 million? No joke. Before you go rummaging through your change jar, let's talk about why this penny is worth such an insane amount of money. It all comes down to something called a mint mark. You know, that little letter on the coin that tells you where it was made. Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. But what's really interesting is what happens when a coin doesn't have a mint mark at all. In 1991, most pennies were struck with a D for Denver or a P for Philadelphia. But here's where it gets weird. Some pennies, for reasons no one really understands, were made without any mint mark at all. This tiny oversight, yes, a simple absence of a letter, caused them to become one of the most coveted and rare coins in the world. You're sitting in your local coin shop, and the dealer hands you a penny with no mint mark. He squints, looks at you, and says, you know, this one could be worth millions. You'd probably laugh, right? Well, that's exactly what happened when this penny was discovered in the 90s, and since then, its value has skyrocketed. There are only a few of these mint mark-less pennies known to exist. Some estimates say that only about 10 to 15 of them are floating around in the hands of private collectors or sitting quietly in coin jars across the world. So, if you're lucky enough to find one, you might just be holding onto a tiny, shiny gold mine. And if you do, don't just throw it in your drawer and forget about it. That penny could be worth enough to buy your next car or fund your entire retirement plan. But, just to be clear, don't get too excited yet. The 1991 no-mint mark penny's value isn't all about just any old coin from that year. These coins have to meet certain conditions, like being in near-perfect condition, to fetch that jaw-dropping $2.8 million. So, unless you have a pristine specimen, you might not get quite that much. But hey, any coin worth even a fraction of that is still a pretty nice find, right? Let me tell you a little story. I remember when I first started collecting coins, I thought all coins were the same. You know, pennies are pennies, dimes are dimes, and so on. One day, I found a penny while digging through my junk drawer, and I thought, hey, maybe it's worth something. It was an old 1981 penny, and I was feeling pretty smug thinking I'd struck gold. I Googled it, and well, it was worth about 2 cents. Not exactly a treasure, but hey, at least I got a laugh out of it. That's the thing about coin collecting. Sometimes you think you've hit the jackpot, and other times, you're just left with a couple of pennies and a lesson learned. But that's why I'm telling you this story. Coin collecting is all about being informed and knowing what to look for. Don't just assume every penny in your change jar is worth $1. Do your homework, and who knows? Maybe you'll find a rare gem like this 1991 no-mint mark penny. So, what can we learn from all this? The next time you're digging through your pocket change or going through your old coin collection, keep your eyes peeled. You could be sitting on a fortune without even realizing it. And remember, it's not just about finding rare pennies. There are tons of other coins out there with hidden value, and the more you know, the better your chances of discovering something that could change your life. Now, if you're like me and want to learn more about coins that are worth money, or if you want to keep up with all the latest coin collecting tips and strategies, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I've got tons of content coming your way that could turn you into a coin collecting pro, and who knows, maybe you'll find the next big score. Until then, happy hunting, and good luck with your treasure hunts. Who knows? That penny you're about to toss might just be worth millions. Well, buckle up, because today we're diving into the world of rare pennies, and trust me, you'll never look at that shiny Lincoln cent the same way again. You're casually flipping through your change jar, and you come across a 2021 D Mint Mark penny. Sounds like a regular OL penny, right? Wrong. That little guy could be worth a jaw-dropping $2.9 million, and I'm about to tell you why. So, if you've ever thought a penny was just pocket change, prepare to have your mind blown and your wallet maybe, just maybe, getting a little fatter. A 2021 penny? How in the world could that be worth anything close to millions? It's barely even old enough to collect a social security check. Well, sit tight, because this isn't your average find a penny, pick it up scenario. This specific penny has something special going on. A mistake, a flaw, a rare minting error that has made it one of the most sought-after pennies in the world. And no, I'm not pulling your LEG'd eye in 2021. The Denver Mint accidentally struck a few Lincoln pennies with some rare characteristics that set them apart from the thousands of others in circulation. These minting errors are incredibly rare, and when they show up in auctions, collectors and coin enthusiasts are like moths to a flame. What makes these 2021 D pennies so special? Well, it's not just the fact that they have the famous Abraham Lincoln design or the D Mint mark that usually tells you they were made in Denver. No. This particular penny has an incredibly subtle but super important flaw, something that makes it a holy grail for collectors. We're talking about a die rotation error or a double die, terms that can make any serious coin collector's heart skip a beat. Now, I know you might not be a professional numismatist, that's fancy speak for coin expert, by the way, but I want you to think of it like this. Imagine finding an autographed baseball card from Babe Ruth, only this baseball card got messed up during printing and is one of a kind. That's essentially what this penny is. Only a small number of these error coins are in circulation, making them insanely valuable. We're talking up to $2.9 million in some cases. Can you even imagine finding that in your pocket change? So, how can you spot this little gem among the sea of other pennies? Here's the kicker. It's not that easy. You have to be on the lookout for some very specific characteristics. Keep an eye out for the die rotation error. This will make the image of Lincoln appear slightly tilted or off-center compared to a regular penny. Another key factor could be a slight doubling effect on the lettering, where you see the words E pluribus unum or liberty with a double outline. Let me tell you a quick story. A couple of years ago, I was digging through a box of old coins my grandma gave me. I remember feeling like a treasure hunter, finding pennies, nickels, and a few really worn-out dimes. I didn't think much of it until I found a 1960s penny with some weird markings. I was about to toss it in my maybe later pile, but I Googled it instead and discovered that I was holding a double-die penny. It wasn't worth millions, but it was worth a lot more than the 1 cent on its face. Moral of the story? Don't ever underestimate the value of a coin, especially one that looks a little off the so. What's the takeaway here? Well, the next time you're walking around and you see a penny on the ground, don't just walk past it. It could be the next big find that turns your wallet into a money-making machine. And I know, you might be sitting there wondering, how can I make sure I don't miss out on these rare finds? Simple. Keep looking. Keep searching through your change jar, your old piggy bank, and even your couch cushions. Who knows? You could be sitting on a literal gold mine. Now, if you want to learn more tips, tricks, and strategies for spotting coins that are worth way more than their face value, hit that subscribe button. You'll get weekly updates on rare coins, tips for your collection, and stories from people who found their own million-dollar pennies. Thanks for watching, and remember, next time you see a penny, don't just walk away. That penny might be worth way more than you think. All right, let me guess. You've got a pile of pennies in your drawer, or maybe just one sitting on your kitchen counter. And you're thinking, well, it's just a penny. What's the worst that could happen? Well, folks, today I'm about to drop a jaw-dropping bombshell on you. That one penny you might think is just a random, worthless coin could actually be worth, wait for it, $3 million. Yup, you heard me right, 3 million. Now, I know you're probably doing the mental math like, how is that even possible? Stick with me because I'm going to tell you the incredible story of the 1966 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny and why it's making waves in the coin world right now. Now, you might be wondering, is it just me? Or did I miss something? After all, the 1966 penny looks pretty normal, right? It's got Lincoln on the front, the date on the back. Seems like any other penny, doesn't it? Well, here's the kicker. If your 1966 penny doesn't have a mint mark, it's a game changer. Now, if you're scratching your head, thinking, wait a minute, doesn't every penny have a mint mark? You're not alone. I mean, that's what I thought too. But here's the catch. By 1965, the US Mint had actually stopped putting mint marks on coins made in Philadelphia. Most pennies from that year are minted in Denver or San Francisco, so they have a mint mark to show where they were made. But some 1966 pennies didn't have any mint mark. Why? Well, that's where the mystery begins. In 1965, there were all sorts of changes going on in the coin world. The US Mint was changing its procedures, and they didn't put the mint mark on the coins that came out of Philadelphia anymore. But in 1966, a few of those unmarked pennies slipped through the cracks and ended up in circulation. To most people, they seemed like regular old pennies. But to collectors? Well, those few unmarked pennies, those little guys became big deals. Now, here's where the real fun begins. These 1966 no mint mark pennies, because they are so rare, have become one of the most sought-after coins on the market. How rare are they? Well, no one knows exactly how many exist, but it's estimated that there's a very tiny handful of them left out there. And because of their scarcity, their value has skyrocketed. You may be wondering, okay, so how much is one of these pennies worth? Well, brace yourself. The value can reach up to $3 million. Yes, you heard me right. 3 million. And that's not some wild estimate. A coin like this recently sold for that jaw-dropping amount at auction. So if you've got one of these rare beauties lying around, you may want to start checking your drawers a little more carefully. And this isn't just some story about a random lucky person finding a 1966 penny. It's happened more than once. In fact, collectors have been scouring through boxes of pennies, looking for those rare, unmarked gems. And it's not always the most obvious find. Some people have literally found one of these pennies in the most unlikely places, like their old change jars or even stuck behind furniture. Talk about a treasure hunt. So, here's my personal story. One day, I was cleaning out my closet, and I found a tin can full of loose change. I was feeling all proud thinking, hey, I've got a few bucks in here. So, I started looking through the pennies. Of course, none of them had mint marks, but I thought, well, maybe this one's old enough to be worth a little more. Well, turns out, no luck. I wasn't holding the $1 million penny, but at least I didn't find anything too embarrassing like a 1974 penny with post-it stuck to it. But the point is, check your coins, people. Where's my lucky 1966 penny? Well, if you do find one, congratulations, you're looking at a potential $3 million payday. But even if you don't have one of those, don't lose hope. There are tons of other valuable coins out there, some of which you might already have in your collection and not even know it. That's why it's so important to always be on the lookout for these hidden gems. All right, coin enthusiasts, if you want more tips, tricks, and treasure hunts just like this, be sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a chance to find out how much your coins could be worth. Who knows, maybe your next lucky find will be the next big thing. What if I told you that a penny you might have just tossed in your pocket or dropped on the sidewalk could be worth a whopping $1 million? Yeah, I'm talking about the 2020 Abraham Lincoln penny. Now, before you stop me right there thinking, nah, that's just some internet clickbait, hold up, stick with me. I'll show you why this penny is one that could put you in the big leagues of coin collectors and make your wallet a lot heavier to so. If you're sitting there thinking your change jar is just a bunch of pennies from the year you graduated high school, think again. Today, we're diving deep into the 2020 penny, how to identify if yours is worth $1 million, and the truth behind this little coin that could change your financial future. Just make sure to hold on to your seats because things are about to get really interesting. What is this 2020 penny, and why should we care? The 2020 penny is part of the regular issue US pennies. The D stands for the Denver Mint, which produces a large chunk of the nation's coinage. Now, most of these 2020 pennies are just your average run-of-the-mill copper-coated zinc coins worth, well, 1 cent, but yes, there's always a but in the good stories. Some of these pennies were minted with a major error, and that error could make your penny worth a staggering $1 million. I know, mind-blowing, right? It was struck with the wrong die, causing it to have a double die obverse. In simple terms, this means that some of these pennies show two overlapping images of Abraham Lincoln's face. No joke, it's like Lincoln decided to give you two winks for the price of one. So how do you know if your penny is one of the lucky ones? Well, first things first, grab your magnifying glass or, heck, even your phone's camera and get a good look at Honest Abe's face. If you notice his features appear to be doubled, with that cool Lincoln eyebrow raised twice, or even his nose or hairline looking way too sharp, you've got yourself a potential jackpot. Okay, that sounds nice, but how do I tell the difference between a slightly blurry penny from my pocket and the real deal? Fair question. Look at the details, especially around the date and the lettering. The 2020 pennies that were affected by this error show significant doubling, which is very noticeable even to a casual observer. It's not just a little fuzzy print here and there. This doubling is big, bold, and, honestly, kind of in your face. And if you're thinking, I've got hundreds of pennies in a jar, surely one of them's a $1 million coin, let me give you a reality check. Not every 2020 penny is going to be worth a fortune. In fact, these error pennies are incredibly rare. You might need to sift through a bunch of change before finding one that's even worth a second look. But when you do find it, you're going to be sitting on a gold mine. Well, not gold, but you get the idea. Okay, let's talk about the value for a second, because this is the part where the math can get really fun. Depending on the condition of the coin, these error pennies can go for anywhere from a few $100 to that life-changing $1 million mark. How do you cash in on this? Well, once you've confirmed that you have an error penny, the next step is getting it graded by a reputable grading service. This will tell you exactly how rare and valuable your penny is. If it's in mint condition, it could fetch up to $1 million at auction. If it's not in perfect condition, don't worry. It could still be worth a significant amount depending on its rarity and demand. Not everyone who finds one of these coins immediately knows what they've got. Just like the time I found a rare baseball card in my attic and thought it was just some old piece of paper, until I Googled it and nearly fell out of my chair. Imagine holding that $1 million penny and not even realizing its worth until it's too late. This actually reminds me of my own experience with coins. I was going through a box of change from my grandparents and, in my head, thinking, well, these coins are just old stuff with no value. Until I found one with an unusual mint mark and decided to look it up. It turns out that coin was worth hundreds of dollars, and I nearly let it slip through my fingers. I was kicking myself for not knowing better, and that's why I'm here today. I want to make sure you don't miss out on an opportunity like I almost did. If you find a 2020 Abraham Lincoln penny that's doubled, check it out, get it graded, and hold on tight. You could be sitting on a literal gold mine, well, copper, but still. This whole coin collecting world isn't just about finding that one-in-a-million penny. It's about knowing what to look for and being aware of the coins that could actually be worth something. That's why I'm here, to give you the tips, tricks, and insider info on spotting these treasures in your everyday change. Before you go diving through your couch cushions, though, make sure you hit that subscribe button right here. Because, trust me, this is just the beginning. You're not going to want to miss the next tip on how to turn your spare change into a fortune. Stay tuned for more amazing tips and keep on hunting those pennies. You never know when your next big find. Well, let me tell you, if you've got a 1997 D-Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny lying around, you might just be sitting on a small fortune, like a serious small fortune. We're talking about a coin that could be worth up to $1.9 million. Yup, you heard me right, a penny, that's 1 cent, is worth nearly $2 million. Stick around, because I'm about to explain how you can turn that dusty old penny jar into a treasure chest. Alright, let's break this down. Now, you're probably thinking, how in the world does a penny from 1997 go from being worth 1 cent to 1.9 million? Great question. Let me explain so. First off, it's not just any ordinary 1997 penny. We're talking about the 1997 D Mint Mark penny, which was struck at the Denver Mint. It looks like your typical penny. The image of Abraham Lincoln on the front and the Lincoln Memorial on the back. But here's where things get interesting. This particular penny has an error on it. A minting error, to be specific. You see, sometimes, when coins are being stamped, things go a little haywire. The metal doesn't fully fill the mold, or the press doesn't quite line up perfectly. The result? A rare error that makes the coin worth way more than just its face value. And that's the case with some 1997 D pennies. Now, before you start rating your coin collection, keep in mind not every 1997 D penny is worth a fortune. The error that makes this penny special is very rare. So rare, in fact, that some of these pennies have been sold for astronomical prices at auction. One even went for $1.9 million. Can you imagine? I mean, that's more than what some people pay for cars. Speaking of which, did you know that this penny could actually make you more than a car? That's because these error pennies are so scarce and desirable that collectors from all over the world are willing to pay top dollar for them. In fact, these rare coins are so highly prized that if you manage to find one, you could turn your pocket change into a small fortune and buy a new car, if that's your thing. Now, I know you're probably itching to find out if you've got one of these pennies stashed in your drawer somewhere. Here's what you need to look for. First, check the mint mark. If you see a D under the date, that means it was minted in Denver. The big giveaway with these rare pennies is the error in the minting process. Sometimes they have a double die error, meaning the design was stamped twice, slightly out of alignment. This can cause a distorted image on the coin, especially on Lincoln's face or the lettering. Like any collector's item, condition is key. The better the condition of the penny, the higher the value. If it's shiny, crisp, and nearly flawless, that's even better. Let me tell you a funny story. I once found a coin in my couch cushions. I thought, just another penny. So, I threw it in a jar with all my other loose change. Fast forward to a few weeks ago. I decided to clean up my space. Yes, I was that person with a mountain of coins lying around. I took a look at this particular penny and noticed something odd. It didn't look like the others. The mint mark looked a little off, and the design was a bit blurry. My heart raced as I thought, could this be one of those rare error coins? I rushed to my computer, Googled it, and turns out, it wasn't. But for a brief moment, I thought I was about to become a millionaire. It just goes to show that sometimes, you never know what could be hidden in the most unlikely places. So, what's the takeaway here? If you've got a 1997 D Abraham Lincoln penny lying around, don't just throw it away. Take a closer look. It could be your ticket to $1 million. But remember, these coins are rare. So don't expect to find one in every jar of change you have. If you do, though, you might just want to get it appraised. Who knows? You could be sitting on a gold mine now. Before you run off to dig through your spare change, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and join our coin treasure hunt community. I've got plenty more tips, tricks, and strategies to help you find coins that are worth way more than you think. You'll want to be the first to know when that next big coin jackpot comes along. So go ahead, subscribe, and let's make sure you don't miss out on any of these hidden gems. What if I told you that you might have a coin sitting in your collection, or maybe even in your change jar, that's worth over $1 million? Sounds crazy, right? But believe it or not, there's a coin that's pulling in a jaw-dropping $1.3 million on the market today. That coin? The 1981 no-mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Yeah, you heard me right. This humble little penny could make you a millionaire. But how, exactly, does that happen? Stick with me, because by the end of this video, you'll be checking your pocket change like a treasure hunter. Okay, let's break this down. First things first, why does this penny, which you probably wouldn't give a second glance to, hold such massive value? We all know pennies are usually worth 1 cent, right? But here's the kicker. The 1981 no-mint Mark penny is incredibly rare. You're probably thinking, wait, what's so special about a penny from 1981? Well, let's back up a bit. Every year, the US Mint stamps pennies with a mint mark. This mark tells you where the coin was produced, whether in Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. In 1981, Most pennies were made in Philadelphia and had a mint mark to show it. But for a tiny handful of them, something went terribly wrong. A small batch of pennies were struck without any mint mark. Talk about a printing error. And that error is what makes these coins so valuable today. They were never meant to be without a mint mark, which makes them incredibly rare. Now, I can already hear you asking, how do I know if I've got one of these golden, well, copper-colored pennies in my collection? Great question. Keep an eye out for any 1981 penny that doesn't have the D for Denver or the P for Philadelphia mint mark on the reverse side. It's that simple that I bet you're thinking, this sounds too good to be true. How do I know that my 1981 penny is actually worth over $1 million? Well, here's where things get even more interesting. These coins are so rare that collectors are willing to pay top dollar for them. The value is driven by their scarcity. There are only a handful of them in existence, and they've been sold for mind-boggling amounts. In fact, some of them have been auctioned for over $1.3 million. I mean, who knew a penny could make you that rich? Let me tell you a quick story from my own experience. A few years ago, I was at a local coin show, and I overheard a conversation between two collectors. One was showing off a 1981 penny, and the other guy was practically drooling over it. I thought to myself, what's so special about that penny? It looks just like any other penny from the 80s. But when the collector revealed it was a no-mint mark version, it was like the room went quiet. The value of that penny was more than most of us will ever make in a lifetime, and I couldn't believe it. Now, don't start throwing away your 1981 pennies just yet. The thing with rare coins is that the value depends on their condition. If your penny's been through the ringer, scratched, tarnished, or looking like it's been through a coin laundry, you're not going to get $1.3 million for it. The rarer the coin and the better its condition, the higher the price tag. So, if you have a 1981 penny with no mint mark that's in mint condition, congratulations, you might be sitting on a small fortune. But don't rush to eBay just yet. If you think you have one of these rare pennies, you'll want to get it authenticated by a professional grading service. Getting your penny graded is the best way to determine its true market value. These grading companies will assess the coin's condition, and once you've got that official certification, you can confidently sell it for top dollar. So, what's the takeaway here? You might just have a hidden treasure in your pocket, and it could be worth way more than just a cent. And while not every 1981 penny is going to make you a millionaire, knowing how to spot rare coins and learning about their value is a great way to start building your collection, or even cashing in on a coin that's been in your change jar for years. Before you go checking every coin in your wallet, let me remind you, this isn't just about finding a valuable penny. It's about getting to know your coins better, discovering their history, and learning the tricks that collectors use to identify rare finds. If you enjoyed learning about this incredible coin, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on more tips, tricks, and strategies for discovering coins worth big money. Trust me, there's more out there than you think. Are you ready to get your hands on a true treasure? I'm about to introduce you to a penny that's worth more than a cup of coffee at a fancy cafe. Okay, probably more than a year's worth of lattes. I'm talking about the 1978 Abraham Lincoln penny with no mint mark. Yep, you heard that right. This little coin could potentially fetch you $1.7 million. So grab your magnifying glass, sit back, and let's dive into why this penny is the stuff of legend, and how you might have one stashed away in your change jar without even knowing it. Alright, let's rewind to 1978. If you weren't around back then, no worries, I've got you covered. It was the year Greece ruled the theaters. The iPhone was a concept nobody could even dream of, and the world was buzzing with the excitement of disco and bell-bottoms. And in the world of coin collecting, something truly bizarre was about to happen. But hold on, before we get to that, let me tell you about the infamous mint mark, or in this case, the lack of one. C. The US Mint has a system for stamping coins with a mint mark to show where they were made: Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. Most of the time, these mint marks were there to show where your coin came from, and it was a pretty regular thing. But in 1978, something weird went down. A batch of pennies was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, without a mint mark. That's right, no mint mark. None. Zilch. Nada. This tiny oversight has caused one of the most insane bidding wars in coin collecting history. Now, the mystery of these 1978 pennies has intrigued collectors for years. Why? Well, The general belief is that these no mint mark pennies were actually struck accidentally as part of a mishap during production. It wasn't supposed to happen, but boy, did it create a storm in the world of coins. It's like the coin version of finding a misprinted $100 bill that's worth thousands of dollars. You get it. An error can make a coin worth way more than face value. So, what does that mean for your pocket change? If you happen to have a 1978 penny without a mint mark, congratulations, you might have found the equivalent of a hidden gold mine. The most valuable ones are in perfect condition, graded as mint state or uncirculated. These pennies have sold for upwards of $1.7 million. Now, I know what you're thinking. What are the odds of me finding one of these? Well, I'll tell you, they're pretty low, but not impossible. Keep looking in those loose change jars, folks. You never know when $1 million penny might pop up. But here's where it gets interesting. If you find one, how do you know it's the real deal? First off, you're going to need to check if it's from 1978 and actually has no mint mark. You can do that by using a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe. They're pretty inexpensive, but they'll make a huge difference in helping you spot those valuable mint era coins. Now, let me tell you a quick story from my own experience. A few years back, I found what I thought was just another old penny in my change. It was scuffed, a little dirty, but it had that something. You know what I mean? A little twinkle of potential. I grabbed my magnifying glass, gave it a look, and, drumroll please, it wasn't a 1978, but a 1969 penny with a double die. I almost fainted. Well, not really, but it was a pretty epic moment. The point is, sometimes you just gotta trust that gut feeling and do a little digging. And who knows? That 1978 penny could be hiding right under your nose. So, to sum it up, if you find a 1978 Abraham Lincoln penny with no mint mark, you're looking at a serious collector's item and a shot at some serious cash. Whether you're in it for the thrill of finding hidden treasure or you're just looking to build your coin collection, keep your eyes peeled for these rare gems. And if you want more tips, tricks, and stories about coins worth money, strategies to find treasures, and all things collectible, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on the next episode where I dive into another rare coin you could be sitting on. So, hit that bell, because you never know when a coin in your pocket might just make you a millionaire. Alright, let's talk about a penny. A tiny coin that most of us probably toss in the jar at home, right? But what if I told you that one of these seemingly useless pennies could be worth over $1.2 million? Yes, you heard that right. 1.2 million. Sounds too good to be true? Well, grab your magnifying glasses, because today we're diving into the mysterious 1982 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny that could turn your loose change into a small fortune. Stick around to find out how you might have one of these bad boys sitting in your couch cushions. So, here's the deal. In 1982, the US Mint was making a ton of pennies, right? But guess what? Some of them were missing the mint mark. That's right, no D or S stamped on the back. And, as you can imagine, anything that's off or out of the ordinary in the world of coins gets collectors' hearts racing. Like finding that last donut in the box when you thought they were all gone. That's the excitement we're talking about. Now, you might be wondering, how do I know if I've got one of these valuable pennies? It's pretty simple, actually. Check the back of your penny. No mint mark means you've got a coin that could potentially fetch big bucks. But hold on. Before you start throwing your pennies around the room in excitement, there's more to the story. Now, let's be clear. Just because your 1982 penny doesn't have a mint mark doesn't mean it's worth $1 million. Oh no. You see, these rare coins didn't get into circulation by accident. In fact, the no mint mark pennies were actually the result of a huge mistake at the mint. A small number of them were accidentally struck without the mint mark, which was supposed to be there to tell you which mint they came from: Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. It was the perfect storm for collectors because, well, mistakes make things valuable in the world of rare coins. To be clear, the real jackpot penny here is the one minted in Philadelphia. That's the one that can make you a millionaire. There's a slight twist, though. Only a handful of these 1982 no mint mark pennies were ever found. They're super rare. As in, super rare. We're talking about a coin with legendary status in the collector's world. And yes, the last time I checked, One of these coins sold for over $1.2 million at auction. That's right. Someone out there is living large thanks to a small, but very mighty, penny. It's crazy, right? A coin that most people would see as, well, just another penny in their pocket. So, how do you find out if you have this hidden gem in your collection? Well, let me share a little story from my own life. A few years ago, I was that person, just tossing coins into a jar without thinking twice about them. One day, I was cleaning up and thought, why not take a closer look at these? Maybe I can find something cool. After a few hours of staring at pennies, I didn't find a 1982 no mint mark, but I did find a coin worth a couple of $100. Not bad, right? I was this close to a $1.2 million mistake. But hey, it's always good to check your coins, because, who knows? You might be sitting on a small fortune without even knowing it. Keep in mind, condition matters. If the penny's been through the ringer, well, it's not going to fetch top dollar, but if it's in pristine shape, you might be in business. Now, don't go running to a coin dealer with your 1982 pennies just yet. A lot of these are still floating around in the wild, and not all of them are worth a fortune. You need to make sure yours is in great condition. Great condition means no nicks, no wear, and no scratches. The better the condition, the higher the value. It's like a coin's beauty contest, and the better your coin looks, the more it will shine when it comes to the money part. So, what can you do with all this info? First of all, take a good look at the pennies you've got lying around. You never know. Maybe that throwaway penny in your drawer is the key to your next big payday. And second, keep on hunting for coins that could be worth more than face value. After all, who doesn't love a good treasure hunt? If you enjoyed this wild ride into the world of rare coins and want more tips on how to turn your everyday change into serious cash, make sure to hit that subscribe button, because I've got more awesome content just like this coming your way. If you think this is fun, trust me, you won't want to miss the next one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next treasure hunt. I'm going to share the story of the 1988 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny, the rare gem you might be holding without even knowing it. So grab that jar of change from your drawer, because you could be sitting on a fortune. All right, let's break this down. We all know pennies, right? That little copper coin we toss around without a second thought? But sometimes, just sometimes, those pennies hide secrets. And no, I'm not talking about that sticky penny you found under the couch cushion last week. I hope you washed it. I'm talking about the 1988 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny, a coin that has stunned collectors with its incredible value. Now, before you rush to check your penny jar, let me explain why this specific coin is worth a small fortune. So, what makes the 1988 D penny stand out? To the naked eye, it looks like just another regular Lincoln penny. But it's not the coin itself that's the star of the show. It's the rarity and some key production errors that have made this little guy legendary. In 1988, most pennies were minted at the Philadelphia Mint and Denver Mint. But a small handful of pennies from the Denver Mint were made with some rare, unintended errors. These errors are what make them highly collectible, and some of these coins have been sold for upwards of $1 million in recent auctions. You're probably thinking, wait, how can a penny that's so small and unimpressive be worth that much? I find pennies in my couch cushions all the time. Well, let me tell you, it's not about how the penny looks at first glance. The value comes from the condition, the error, and of course, the rarity. Now, you're probably wondering, what makes this penny worth $1 million? Here's the thing. It's the minting error that collectors are after. These errors can be something simple like a misaligned die, or in some cases, the penny might have been struck twice or even have the wrong planchet. The rarer these mistakes are, the higher the value. To give you an idea, a coin that might appear to have the usual D mint mark could be hiding an error, making it a diamond in the rough. So, if you happen to find one with an obvious defect or a really well-preserved version, you could strike gold, or, should I say, struck gold? See what I did there? Okay, let's get real. Not every 1988 D penny is going to be worth $1 million, but you might be surprised by how much some are worth. That little D on the coin tells you it was minted in Denver. So, make sure that's there first. Look for things like double strikes, misaligned dies, or other imperfections that might stand out to the trained eye. A penny in perfect condition is worth a lot more than one that's been passed around like a hand-me-down sweater. Coins that are graded as MS 67 or higher are especially valuable. Don't be discouraged if you don't find the $1,000,000 penny in your change jar. There are plenty of pennies out there that can still fetch a pretty penny, pun intended. Now, let's talk about numbers. The value of these rare pennies can vary. While the $1,000,000 price tag is reserved for only the best examples, you might still find that your penny is worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Some 1988 D pennies have sold for $10,000 or more. One thing I've learned in my own coin hunting adventures is that the condition of the coin can make or break the deal. I remember once finding a penny that I thought might be worth something. I got all excited, looked it up, and it turned out to be worth maybe 3 cents? Not a million, not even a dollar. But hey, at least I was on the right track. So, after all that talk about rare pennies, you might be itching to check your pockets and start hunting. And I don't blame you. Who knows? You could be the next one to find a 1988 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny that could change your life. If you found this video helpful, and maybe even a little entertaining, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell so you don't miss any of my other tips on coins worth money. Trust me, you never know when that next penny could be worth $1,000,000. And hey, if you've ever found a rare coin or had an epic coin hunting story, I'd love to hear about it in the comments below. Let's get a conversation going. We're talking about an actual penny that's been sitting in your pocket or maybe even hiding somewhere in a jar of loose change. Sound crazy? Well, stick around because we're diving into the fascinating world of the 1985 D. Abraham Lincoln penny, a coin that could make you a millionaire. Yep, you heard me right, a penny worth $2,000,000. How insane is that? Wait, I've got tons of pennies lying around. Am I sitting on a gold mine? Well, maybe, but not all pennies are created equal, and I'm here to break it down for you in the next 30 minutes. So grab a drink, sit back, and let's get to the bottom of this numismatic treasure chest. Let's kick things off with a little history lesson. The 1985 D penny is a part of the U.S. Mint's ongoing production of Abraham Lincoln pennies. These coins, which celebrate the legacy of the 16th president, have been a staple in American currency for decades. But here's where it gets interesting. In 1985, something went a little off track at the Denver Mint, and that's exactly what makes this coin so special. You see, most pennies from that year are just your standard, run-of-the-mill copper-plated zinc coins. They're worth, surprise, surprise, 1 cent. But due to a minting error, a small batch of 1985 D pennies ended up being struck in a way that makes them ultra-rare. We're talking about a misalignment, or some sort of funny business during the production process that gives these coins their unique characteristics. The result? A super valuable coin that is now worth a ridiculous $2,000,000 in top condition. So, why is this penny worth so much? Well, it comes down to scarcity. Collectors go nuts for rare coins, and with only a handful of these 1985 D pennies in circulation, their value skyrockets. People are literally willing to drop millions on a penny. I mean, who knew a coin worth just 1 cent could be worth a fortune? It's like buying a pack of gum and finding out it's a time machine. Now, here's the part where things get a little tricky. Not every 1985 D penny is worth $2,000,000. In fact, most of them aren't even worth a dollar. So how do you know if you've got the $1,000,000 gem sitting in your pocket? Here's a fun little story from my own coin hunting days. A few years ago, I was at a local yard sale when I stumbled upon a huge jar of old pennies. Naturally, I grabbed it, because who can resist a treasure hunt, right? I'm going through the jar, examining each coin like a pro, and I come across what looks like a fairly ordinary 1985 D penny. But hey, I'm no expert, so I throw it in my pile and move on. Fast forward a week, and I'm scrolling through my favorite coin forum when someone mentions that certain 1985 D pennies can be worth a fortune if they have a specific minting error. My heart nearly stopped. I go back to that penny, hold it up to the light, and sure enough, it's got the telltale signs. I got so excited, I almost dropped it. But then, I did the smart thing and took it to a professional for grading. Turns out, mine wasn't worth millions, but it was still worth more than I paid for the entire jar. Moral of the story: always check your change SO. If you think you've got a 1985 D penny that might be worth some serious cash, the first step is to inspect it carefully. You'll want to look for specific characteristics, like the way the coin was struck, and if there are any noticeable minting flaws. Some experts suggest using a magnifying glass to get a closer look at the details on the Lincoln Memorial side of the penny. Those subtle differences can make or break your fortune. Also, if you've got a 1985 D penny, get it graded by a reputable company. Grading services evaluate the condition of the coin and can confirm whether it's a genuine treasure or just an average penny. The better the condition, the higher the value. A coin in mint condition can fetch a far higher price than one that's been banged up or worn down over the years. Now, let's talk numbers. The most famous 1985 D penny that sold for $2 million was in perfect condition. We're talking about a coin that has no scratches, no discoloration, and is almost as shiny as the day it was minted. The price for a coin like that might be out of most people's budgets, but even coins in less than perfect condition can fetch a hefty price. Some may be worth thousands or even tens of thousands depending on their grading. It's crazy how the market for these things works. But remember, this doesn't mean every 1985 D penny you find is worth millions. The market fluctuates, and just because you've got a rare penny doesn't automatically make it a jackpot. Still, it's worth checking out, because who knows? Maybe your penny is just waiting to make you rich. The 1985 D penny, a coin that could turn your pocket change into a small fortune. But here's the thing. Just like with any collectible, the value of these coins is all about rarity, condition, and timing. Not every penny will make you a millionaire, but it's always worth taking a second look at your spare change or old coin collections. And hey, if you love the idea of finding hidden gems like the 1985 D penny, make sure to subscribe to this channel. We've got tons of tips and tricks for hunting down valuable coins, as well as strategies for building your own collection that could one day make you a fortune. Trust me, there's a lot more out there than you might think. So hit that subscribe button, join the coin hunting community, and let's keep digging for those rare finds. Who knows? Maybe your next penny is worth $2. Did you know there's a humble little penny out there that could make you an instant millionaire? Yep, I'm talking about a 1991 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny that's currently valued at a jaw-dropping $1.9 million. That's not a typo. $1.9 million for a coin you might just have sitting in your pocket or piggy bank. Imagine turning a penny into a dream vacation or even a new house. Crazy, right? Let's dive in. Now, before you start digging through your couch cushions, let me walk you through why this coin is worth so much, how to identify it, and what to do if you find one. Oh, and stick around, because I'll share a hilarious story about the time I thought I'd hit the jackpot. Spoiler alert, I didn't. So, what's the deal with this 1991 no-mint Mark penny? First off, it's not your average Lincoln penny. The no-mint Mark part means it wasn't stamped with the usual D for Denver or S for San Francisco. Coins like this are super rare because they were a mistake, an error during production. And we all know collectors love their errors. Think of it as the coin world's version of a limited edition sneaker drop. Now, why is this tiny piece of copper worth $1.9 million? It's all about rarity, condition, and demand. Only a handful of these coins exist, and most are in pretty rough shape. If yours is in excellent condition, what collectors call mint state, you're looking at a life-changing payday. Plus, wealthy collectors are always on the hunt for unique pieces to add to their collections. Supply is low, demand is high. Basic economics, folks. Okay, let's talk about spotting this jackpot penny. Flip it over. No, seriously, go ahead. I'll wait. Look closely at the date. 1991. If there's no little letter under the date, you might have a winner. But don't get too excited just yet. You'll need to check its condition, weight, and even have it authenticated by a professional. A magnifying glass and good lighting will be your best friends here. Oh, and maybe a little patience. Sorting through pennies is not for the faint of heart. Speaking of patience, let me tell you about the time I thought I struck gold, or copper in this case. I was cleaning out an old jar of coins from my grandma's house and spotted a 1991 penny with no visible mint mark. My heart was racing. I was already planning how I'd spend my millions. Fancy dinners, a yacht, maybe a private island. Turns out, it was just a super worn penny where the mint mark had faded. Lesson learned. Always double-check with an expert. So, what should you do if you think you've found the real deal? First, don't spend it on a candy bar. Please. Take it to a coin dealer or send it to a grading service like PCGS or NGC for authentication. Once it's confirmed, you can list it at an auction house or connect with high-end collectors. And hey, don't forget to send me a thank you note when you're rolling in cash. The 1991 no mint mark penny is rare, valuable, and could make you a millionaire if you're lucky enough to find one. Remember, it's all about that no mint mark under the date. And if you're like me, even if you don't find a $1.9 million penny, at least you'll have an excuse to clean out your coin jar. And who knows, you might find enough for a cup of coffee. Before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I've got plenty more tips on coins worth big money, hidden treasures, and strategies to spot rare finds. You don't want to miss it. And hey, leave a comment below if you've ever found a rare coin or if you're starting your treasure hunt today. Who knows? Your story might be the next big thing. Let's get straight to the point. What if I told you there's a penny out there that could be worth a cool $1 million? Yep, you heard that right. A single penny. But not just any penny. We're talking about the 2000 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, a coin so rare and valuable that it has left coin collectors drooling and auction houses shaking in their boots. Stick around because by the end of this video, you might just have a future $1 million coin in your pocket, or at least a few tips on how to spot one out now. Before you start rushing to your piggy bank, let's break this down, shall we? The 2000 no mint mark penny is, in short, an absolute anomaly. See, most pennies minted in 2000 came with the mint mark D for Denver or P for Philadelphia. But here's the kicker. Some pennies from that year were made without any mint mark at all. It's like when you make a batch of cookies and forget to add chocolate chips. But instead of being a failed batch, it turns out to be a golden ticket to Willy Wonka's factory. These no mint mark pennies are rare, and I mean rare. It's like finding a needle in a haystack that's already been plucked clean. So, how did these penny misprints happen? Well, no one really knows for sure. Maybe it was just a little glitch in the production process, or maybe it was the mint's version of, oops, we did it again. But regardless of how it happened, they're out there, and they're worth a fortune, so how much are these coins worth, you ask? A lot. In fact, a 2000 no mint mark penny in good condition can fetch anywhere from a few $100s to a whopping $1 million, depending on its condition, rarity, and whether you have a buyer willing to pay top dollar. That's right, I said million. So, before you dismiss that penny you found in the couch cushions, take a closer look. It could just be the key to your next big payday. Let's talk about condition for a second, because that's a big deal in the world of rare coins. If your 2000 penny has been through the ringer, scratched, bent, or looking like it's been through a couple of wars, it's probably not going to make you a millionaire. But if it's in pristine condition, with all the details crisp and sharp, your coin could be one of those hidden gems. Speaking of hidden gems, I've got a little story for you. A while back, I was rummaging through some old coin jars I had in the garage. I was just looking for some loose change to buy a coffee, but guess what I found? A 2000 penny, no mint mark. I didn't think much of it at first, just another penny, right? But something told me to do a quick search online. I couldn't believe my eyes when I found out that this little copper disc could be worth hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. Long story short, I didn't turn it into a coffee fund, and I kept that penny safe. Moral of the story? Always check your change, folks. You never know what you might be sitting on. But hey, don't go throwing your pennies into the trash pile just yet. There are a few things you can do to check if your 2000 penny is the real deal. First, look for that missing mint mark. It'll be on the front of the coin, below Abraham Lincoln's shoulder. If it's gone, you might be looking at something special. But that's not the only factor at play. You'll also want to check the overall quality of the penny. No scuffs, no dents, no major wear and tear. And if you're feeling fancy, you can always take your penny to a coin grading service to get an official evaluation. How do I sell this penny and get my hands on that sweet $1 million check? Well, there are a few ways to go about it. You can go the auction route, but be prepared for some hefty fees. Or, if you're feeling lucky, you could try selling it privately to other collectors. Websites like eBay or specialized coin forums are full of enthusiasts who would love to add your rare coin to their collection. And here's another tip. Don't just look at pennies. The world of rare coins is vast and full of treasures. You can find valuable coins from all years, all over the world. So, It's worth learning the ins and outs of coin collecting if you're serious about turning your hobby into a profit. All right, coin enthusiasts, it's time to wrap this up. If you've got a 2000 no mint mark penny sitting around, or if you're just starting your coin collection journey, remember, it's not just about the money. It's about the hunt, the thrill of finding something rare, and the stories you'll have to tell when you do. So, keep your eyes peeled and don't overlook the pennies in your pocket. You might just be sitting on a fortune. Now, if you found this video helpful, or even if you're just laughing at the thought of turning pennies into cash, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Trust me, I've got tons more tips and tricks up my sleeve to help you spot valuable coins and strategies for growing your collection. Join the coin collecting family, and let's make those pocket change dreams come true. Did you know that somewhere, right now, a 2014 penny is quietly sitting in someone's pocket, worth a jaw-dropping $1.5 million? Yeah, you heard that right. This little copper coin could be the key to your next big payday. So, how does a humble penny end up with a price tag that high? And what makes this 2014 Abraham Lincoln penny so special? Stick around, because today, we're diving deep into this rare find, and by the end of this video, you might just be looking at your own change a little differently. But before we jump into all that minty goodness, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss out on more money-making coin tips. We'll keep it fun and casual here. No boring lectures, I promise. All right, let's start by breaking it down for you. If you've ever walked into a coin shop or flipped through your change and thought, another penny, I don't blame you. Most pennies aren't worth much, right? A penny is a penny, and they're the butt of so many jokes like, what do you do with all these pennies? Use them to pay for parking in a city that charges $30 for an hour. Yeah, I get it. But let me tell you, pennies, especially rare ones, can be worth way more than you'd expect. Let's get into the star of the show, the 2014 no mint mark penny. Typically, every penny minted in the US has a mint mark, which is a little letter that shows where it was made, either in Philadelphia, no mint mark, Denver, D, or San Francisco, S. But in 2014, some of the pennies that were supposed to have a mint mark didn't. And that's what sets them apart. You see, for whatever reason, the 2014 penny batch coming out of the Philadelphia Mint got produced with no mint mark, completely missing the letter P that would normally indicate it was made there. This little quirk makes these coins extremely rare, because they were never supposed to be like this. In fact, this error makes them one of the most sought-after pennies in recent years. So, what's the big deal with that? Well, it's all about scarcity. A lot of coin collectors, investors, and even hobbyists love anything that's rare or has an error on it. And the lack of a mint mark on a penny from 2014 is exactly that, a mistake or a misprint, which makes it unique and, as a result, valuable. Now, you might be thinking, okay, but how much is a penny really worth? You'd be surprised. This little mistake turns some of these pennies into a gold mine. The current market value of a single 2014 no mint mark penny can go as high as $1.5 million, depending on its condition and where it's being sold. Can you imagine? A coin that's less than an inch in diameter and weighs less than 3 grams, worth over $1 million. I'll be honest with you, I wasn't always into coins. In fact, the first time I found a rare coin, I didn't even know it was rare. I was at a flea market, sifting through old jars of coins, hoping to find something that wasn't just another penny. I pulled out this old coin. It was kind of tarnished, but I thought, hey, this could be something cool. Fast forward, I had it appraised and boom. Turns out it was a 1943 steel penny, one of the rarest pennies out there. At the time, I didn't know it could be worth hundreds of dollars, but I kept it anyway. And let me tell you, I'm glad I did. That little penny is sitting in my collection to this day, and every time I look at it, I think, that could have just been another penny I tossed in the jar. So trust me, when I tell you, don't overlook your pocket change. You never know when you're holding on to something that could make you a small fortune. The 2014 no mint mark penny is just one example, but there are plenty of other hidden gems out there waiting to be discovered. Now, you're probably wondering, how can I find one of these magical pennies? Well, here's what you need to look for. First off, take a 2014 penny and check the reverse side. If you don't see a mint mark, congratulations, you might have just found yourself a potential gold mine. Make sure it's a legitimate 2014 penny and not a later version that someone is trying to pass off. If it's really a 2014 penny without a mint mark, you could have something worth thousands or even millions. If you're still not sure whether your coin is the real deal, it's a good idea to take it to a professional appraiser or a reputable coin dealer. You can also check online auction sites to see what similar pennies are going for. If yours is in great condition, especially uncirculated, it's got the potential to fetch big bucks. All right, folks, I hope you're a little more excited about your pennies now. The 2014 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny is just one example of how a small mistake can create a huge opportunity. So, if you've got a jar of coins sitting around, or if you're digging through your pocket change, take a second to double check. You might just find a future treasure. If you've learned something new today, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I'll be bringing you more tips on coins worth money, strategies for finding rare finds, and a whole lot of fun along the way. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. You're sitting in your living room, you're sorting through your change jar, and you pull out a penny. A penny. But wait, this isn't just any old penny. No, this is the 1986 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, and believe it or not, this little copper coin could be worth a whopping $1.2 million. Yep, you heard that right, $1.20 million. Now, if you've just dropped your phone in disbelief, I totally get it. I mean, who knew a penny could have such a value, right? But before you rush off to check your piggy bank, let me walk you through the history, the mystery, and of course, how you could potentially turn this tiny little coin into a fortune. Stick around, this is going to be one wild ride. All right, let's rewind for a second. We all know pennies. They're small, they're easy to forget about, and to be honest, most of us just toss them in the drawer or let them accumulate in a jar. But here's the kicker. Not all pennies are created equal. Some are rare, and I'm talking super rare. And one of those is the 1986 no mint mark penny. Now, you might be thinking, wait, a 1986 penny? That's not that old. True, it's not a century-old coin, but there's something special about these particular pennies. And if you've got one, it could make you richer than you ever expected. So, why is this penny so valuable? Great question. The key is in the no mint mark. You see, most coins have a mint mark on them that tells you where they were made. You've probably seen a little D or S on your pennies before, right? Those are for the Denver and San Francisco mints. But the 1986 penny, specifically the no mint mark version, was supposed to have a mint mark, but it didn't. Now, you're probably thinking, what happened? Did someone forget to stamp it? Was it just a fluke? Well, yup, pretty much. This penny was a mistake, and that mistake turned it into a rare, highly sought-after piece of numismatic history. In fact, it's one of the most valuable pennies in circulation today. There's only a handful of them, which is what makes them so valuable. A regular 1986 penny is worth, what, a cent? Maybe a little more if it's in mint condition. But a 1986 no mint mark penny can fetch as much as $1.2 million at auction. That's right, a penny that doesn't have a mint mark could make you a millionaire. I mean, who needs a winning lottery ticket when you've got one of these bad boys lying around in your couch cushions, right? I remember the first time I found a rare coin. I was about 12 years old, sitting in the basement, going through my grandpa's old coin jar. I had no idea what I was doing. I was just flipping through pennies, and I found one that seemed a little off. It didn't look like the others. But, being a kid, I wasn't thinking about it much, so I just tossed it aside, thinking it was probably just dirty. Fast forward to a few years later, I learned it was actually a rare 1943 copper penny worth thousands of dollars. If I'd known then what I know now, I could have been one of those lucky folks with a rare coin that could have changed my life. So, trust me when I say, take a good look at every penny, dime, and quarter you come across. You never know when you might have something special hiding in your pocket. Now, don't go running to your coin jar just yet. I'm not saying every penny is worth $1 million, but that 1986 no mint mark penny? It's one of those hidden gems. If you happen to have one tucked away, you could be holding on to a small fortune. And don't be discouraged if you don't have one of these elusive pennies. There are tons of other coins out there that could be worth more than you think. So don't just toss your change aside. Take a few minutes to learn about the coins in your collection. It could make all the difference. So, what's the takeaway here? Well, the 1986 no mint mark penny might not be something you find every day, but if you do, you could be holding onto a piece of history that's worth a small fortune. The moral of the story? Always keep an eye out for rare coins, and don't overlook those pennies. They might just be worth more than a cent, or more than you ever imagined. If you enjoyed this little coin adventure, make sure to hit that subscribe button, because we've got plenty more tips, tricks, and coin strategies coming your way. You never know when the next coin could be worth $1 million. So stay tuned. And hey, let me know in the comments. Have you ever found a rare coin? Or do you have any strange stories about your own coin collection? I'd love to hear about it. So, you're walking through your old change, right? Maybe you're casually flipping through a jar of pennies, thinking nothing of it, when bam, you spot something that might be something special. And I'm talking about that elusive, almost mythical penny from 1995 with no mint mark. Wait, what? A penny worth $1.1 million? Yep, you heard that right. Stick around because by the end of this video, you might just start looking at your spare change a little differently. I know, it sounds too good to be true. But trust me, this penny is one of those hidden gems that have been making headlines for a while now. And I'm here to break it down, explain how you can spot it, and maybe even inspire you to dive deeper into the world of coin collecting. Spoiler alert. It's more exciting than you think, and yes, your spare change could be worth more than a cup of coffee. Let's get into it. Okay, let's start with the basics. We're talking about a penny from 1995 that's missing something very important, the mint mark. Normally, pennies minted in the US come with a mint mark indicating where they were produced, either Denver, D, Philadelphia, P, or San Francisco, S. But this one, a penny from 1995, doesn't have any of those mint marks. And you know what that means? It's a mistake. A production error, my friend. And that's what makes it rare. You see, in 1995, the Philadelphia Mint was supposed to place a P on the penny, but somehow, a bunch of them slipped through the cracks without any mint mark at all. It's like someone dropped their coffee on the factory floor and poof, these rare pennies were born. Now, you might be wondering, why does that matter so much? Well, in the world of coin collecting, errors are worth their weight in gold. Or should I say, worth a cool million? That's right, these mint error pennies are known to be worth upwards of $1.1 million. But before you go rooting around in your pockets, hold your horses. Not every 1995 penny without a mint mark is a gold mine. So, how do you find this rare treasure? Honestly, it's all about keeping an eye out. The trick is to check for the obvious. No mint mark. But the real challenge is ensuring it's legit. You don't want to get all excited over a dirty penny and get scammed, right? Look closely at the obverse side, that's the front of the coin, where Abraham Lincoln's face is. If you don't see a mint mark after the date, you could have a winner. Compare it to other 1995 pennies from Philadelphia, where there should be a mint mark. If your penny is blank, congrats, you might just have a real find. Don't just take your first glance for granted. These errors are rare, but they're also subtle. If you're unsure, get it inspected by a professional or take it to a reputable coin dealer. But here's the thing. Just because your penny's missing a mint mark doesn't mean it's automatically worth millions. A well-worn or damaged coin will still hold some value, but it's not going to be fetching the same price as one in pristine condition. What's it worth? Well, as mentioned earlier, some of these bad boys have sold for $1.1 million. But, just like with anything rare and valuable, the condition of the coin is everything. The better the condition, the higher the value. Mint condition coins can go for hundreds of thousands of dollars, while those in less than perfect shape might only fetch a couple of thousand. But hey, a couple of $1,000s from a penny? That's a pretty sweet deal. I used to think I had no shot at finding something like that in my own change. I mean, it's not like we're all walking around with million-dollar pennies in our pockets. But one day, I was checking some old change from a family trip, coins I hadn't bothered looking at in ages. I found a 1995 penny, and it was just sitting there, staring at me all lonely-like. No mint mark. I thought, this is it. This is my golden ticket. Well, after a quick Google search and a few awkward moments of trying to convince myself I was about to retire early, I realized it wasn't the no mint mark 1995 penny I was hoping for. But hey, I didn't let that stop me. I held on to the penny anyway, and it's now part of my small collection of quirky finds. Moral of the story? Don't be afraid to dig through your spare change. You never know when you might get lucky, so there you have it. The 1995 no mint mark penny might just be the golden ticket you've been looking for. While it's super rare, it's definitely worth checking your pockets, piggy banks, and old change jars to see if you've got one of these bad boys hiding in there. And who knows, maybe that overlooked penny will make you a millionaire. But even if you don't find one, don't be discouraged. The world of coin collecting is full of other treasures waiting to be discovered, and I've got a ton of tips and tricks coming your way. So, if you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about coins, valuable finds, and strategies to make your collection even more impressive, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. You don't want to miss out on what's next. And hey, if you find any more rare pennies, let me know. Maybe we can trade. Or I'll just help you sell it for a couple million. No biggie. So, I've got a question for you. What if I told you there's a penny out there worth a whopping $1.6 million? And no, I'm not talking about some rare, super old coin that's been passed down through generations. I'm talking about a 2011 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny that could make you rich enough to buy a yacht, or at least a really, really nice coffee machine. Now, I know what you're thinking. Wait, a penny? Yep. It's not a typo, my friend. If you've got a 2011 penny with a D Mint mark, there's a chance it's sitting on a small fortune. But before you start raiding your piggy bank, let's talk about what makes this penny so special, why it's worth $1.6 million, and how you can spot one in your own collection. All right, let's rewind a bit and talk about why this particular penny is causing such a stir in the coin world. I mean, it's just a penny, right? Well, not all pennies are created equal. This one is unique for several reasons, and if you find one, it's basically like winning the lottery, except a whole lot easier than buying that scratch-off ticket that always seems to leave you with a sorry, try again message. First off, the 2011 D penny is part of the series that was minted in Denver, hence the D Mint mark. So, if you look closely and see that D, it could be your ticket to the big time. Now, let's talk about what makes this penny worth so much. It all comes down to a little thing called an error coin. You see, back in 2011, a few of these pennies were minted with a rare mistake, a double die. Basically, the die that stamps the design onto the coin was improperly aligned, creating a doubled image. It's like the penny got caught in a weird optical illusion. One face is already enough, but imagine seeing two. Now, don't go thinking this is a common mistake. Oh no, my friend. Error coins are rare, and this particular double die error is like finding a needle in a haystack. You've got to look really carefully. If you find one, you could have a serious collector's item on your hands, and that's when the big bucks start rolling in. But hold up, before you start putting every 2011 penny under a magnifying glass, let me tell you this. Not every 2011 D penny is worth $1.6 million. Far from it. Most of them are still just worth, well, a penny. So, how do you know if you've hit the jackpot? Here's a quick tip. Look closely at Abraham Lincoln's chin and the words, "In God We Trust." On a typical penny, these would be clearly defined. But on the double die version, you'll notice a slight doubling or even a ghost image in those areas. It's subtle, but once you know what to look for, it's like spotting a unicorn in a field of regular horses. It'll pop right out at you. Now, let's get real for a second. I have my own little story about coins that'll probably make you laugh, but also remind you to keep your eyes peeled. So, one time, I found a penny while I was cleaning my garage. I thought, hey, it's a penny, whatever, and tossed it in a jar I had full of, well, just other random coins. Months later, I'm watching one of those rare coins shows on YouTube, and they talk about a coin that looked just like the one I found. I went back, grabbed it, and no joke, it was a 1943 copper penny, worth around $100,000. But here's the kicker. It wasn't the rare one, and I learned that the hard way after some serious research. Moral of the story? Don't just throw pennies away and actually take the time to check. Trust me, you never know. Okay, back to the 2011 D pennies. Now that you're getting excited and dusting off your jar of pennies, let's talk value. As of now, these 2011 D double die error pennies are valued at a solid $1.6 million. It's not just some hopeful guess either. These pennies have been sold at auction for these kinds of prices. But like I said, don't expect to find a pile of them in your local grocery store change. They're incredibly rare, and even though they're worth a lot, finding one might take a bit of luck and a whole lot of patience. If you happen to stumble upon a 2011 D. Abraham Lincoln penny, give it a good once-over. Look for that double die error, and you might just have yourself a coin worth over $1,000,000. But don't get too discouraged if your penny looks a little more standard. There are plenty of other coins out there with hidden value, and who knows? Your next lucky find might just be the one to set you up for life. And before you go, if you enjoyed this coin journey, or if you're now obsessed with searching through your spare change, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. You never know what hidden treasures we're going to discover next. Plus, I've got plenty more tips and tricks on how to spot coins worth big money. So, subscribe, hit that bell icon, and let's get those coins stacking up in your favor. You won't believe what I've got for you today, a penny. Yep, you heard me right, a penny that could be sitting in your pocket or in a jar somewhere gathering dust. And that penny could be worth up to $1.80 million. Sounds crazy, right? But it's true. Today, we're diving deep into the 1964 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny that has taken the coin world by storm. But don't worry, we're not just talking about any old coin here. This one has some serious value. And I'll tell you why so. Grab that jar of loose change you've been meaning to sort through. You never know, you might be holding on to a small fortune. All right, let's rewind for a sec. The year is 1964. The Beatles are taking over the world. The civil rights movement is gaining steam. And the US Mint is cranking out pennies with the usual Abraham Lincoln design. But here's the catch. The 1964 D Mint Mark penny wasn't supposed to be a rare treasure. In fact, it was just another penny being minted for circulation. But, as with all great treasure stories, there's a little twist in this one that makes it special. So, what makes this 1964 D penny worth so much? Well, it's all about an error that was made at the mint. During the production process, some of the 1964 D pennies came out with a minting error, meaning the design on the coin didn't come out as expected. Now, you might think, who cares about a tiny mistake? Well, in the world of coins, a mistake like that can actually increase a coin's value like you wouldn't believe. These pennies were supposed to have a sharp, clean design, but in some cases, the dies used to stamp the pennies were worn out or damaged, which caused the details on the coin to be less defined. In essence, the coin wasn't perfect, and that imperfection is what makes it so valuable today. The big dollar question: how much is it worth? So, how much are we talking about here? Well, if you find a 1964 D Lincoln penny with this error, it could be worth a whole lot of money. Up to $1.80 million to be exact. Yeah, I know, that's a huge number, and it might sound like something out of a movie, but I'm not kidding. The rarest of these pennies, in pristine condition, have sold for insane amounts at auctions. And the catch? The majority of these coins are out there, sitting in collections or hidden away in dark corners of basements and attics. But hold on. Before you go dumping out every jar of pennies you have looking for one of these, let's break it down a bit more. Because not all 1964 D pennies are going to make you rich. Here's the deal. Condition matters. A worn-out, corroded, or even slightly scratched penny isn't going to fetch a huge price. So, if you have a 1964 D penny in good condition, keep it in a safe place and take a closer look. The better the condition, the more likely it is to fetch a decent price. You'll want to look for the D Mint mark, which stands for the Denver Mint. The Mint mark will be located just below the date on the front of the coin. And remember, this is a case where you're hunting for an error that's so slight, it might be tough for you to notice it without a magnifying glass. I'm talking about a coin with subtle but crucial signs of a die error from when the coin was stamped. Alright, let me share a quick story with you. I was once going through a box of coins I inherited from my grandma. I wasn't expecting much, maybe a few old nickels or some pennies from the 70s. But, to my surprise, I found a 1964 D penny. Now, I didn't think much of it at first. In fact, I almost tossed it aside until I remembered that I had read about this penny being worth big money. So, I took a closer look and sure enough, I noticed some of the signs of that minting error. Now, was my penny worth $1.8 million? Sadly, no. But it was still worth a lot more than your average penny. The point is, When you think there's nothing of value in your old coin jars, take a closer look. You never know when you might have a hidden treasure on your hands, so what happens if you do find a 1964 penny that might be worth thousands, or maybe even millions? Well, first off, get it checked out. There are professionals, like coin graders and appraisers, who can verify its authenticity and condition. If you're serious about selling it, you'll want to consult a trusted dealer to get the best price. Be careful of online auctions or people who might try to offer you less than it's worth. Don't settle for pennies on the dollar, no pun intended. All right, coin hunters, there you have it. The 1964 Lincoln penny, a small coin with a huge potential payout. Who knew that a simple penny could make you rich, right? It's like finding a gold mine in your back pocket. If you're serious about finding rare coins, or you just like hunting for treasure in your spare time, you'll want to stick around. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, because we've got a lot more tips, tricks, and stories to share about coins that could make you a fortune. And hey, even if you don't find a $1.8 million penny, at least you'll have a few laughs along the way, and maybe a pocket full of pennies that could still be worth more than you think. So, what are you waiting for? Start digging through those old coins, and make sure to subscribe for more coin collecting wisdom. Who knows? Maybe your next penny will be worth its weight in gold. Or, $1.8 million. All right, listen up, coin enthusiasts and curious minds. Did you know a humble penny could be worth a fortune? That's right, we're talking about the 1967 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny that's been making waves in the coin collecting world. And get this, it's currently valued at a staggering $1 million. Yup, $1 million bucks for a penny you could have found under your couch cushions. Mind blown, right? Stick around because today we'll dive into why this penny is worth so much, what makes it special, and how you can start spotting coins that could change your life. But first, let me ask you this. Have you ever dismissed pennies as pocket clutter? I did. Until I learned how valuable they could be. Trust me, after this video, you'll never look at loose change the same way again. Point 1. What's the deal with the 1967 penny? All right, let's start with the basics. The 1967 Lincoln penny is special because it has no mint mark. Usually, US coins are stamped with a tiny letter indicating where they were minted, like D for Denver or S for San Francisco. But in 1967, the US Mint temporarily stopped adding mint marks to reduce coin hoarding during a national coin shortage. Weird times, huh? Now, here's where it gets juicy. Not all 1967 pennies are valuable. It's only the rare error coins or ones in pristine, uncirculated condition that collectors are willing to shell out serious cash for. So, if you've got one lying around, grab a magnifying glass and check it out. You're probably wondering, why on earth would anyone pay $1 million for a penny? Great question. It's all about rarity, demand, and condition. The 1967 no-mint mark penny has become a holy grail for collectors because of its unique historical context and scarcity. Plus, some of these pennies were accidentally struck on silver planchets, the metal discs used to make coins, making them even rarer. And let's not forget, coin collecting is kind of like Pokemon for grown-ups. Gotta catch 'em all, right? Wealthy collectors are willing to drop big money on rare coins to complete their sets or show off their treasures. So, if you've got one, you're sitting on a potential gold mine, or should I say, copper mine? Now, let me hit you with some practical tips because I know you're itching to rummage through your coin jar. Look for the year. If it says 1967, you're off to a good start. Check for the absence of a mint mark. No tiny letter under the date? Bingo! Inspect its condition. The shinier and less worn, the better. Consider professional grading. If you think your penny might be valuable, send it to a coin grading service to confirm its worth. Let me share a little story. A couple of years ago, I found a weird-looking penny in my car's cup holder. At first, I thought it was just sticky from spilled soda, classic me, but something about it looked different. I Googled it and learned it was a rare wheat penny from the 1940s. Sold it for $150. That's when I realized coins aren't just spare change. They're mini treasure chests. Who knew my messy car could fund a date night? So there you have it, the incredible story of the 1967 no-mint mark penny worth $1 million. Who knew something so small could have such a big impact? If you've got some change lying around, it might be time to give it a second look. Who knows? Your next coffee run could be funded by a coin worth more than your car. Before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I've got tons of tips on spotting valuable coins, hidden treasures, and strategies to turn your pocket change into a payday. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. What if I told you that you could be walking around with a coin in your pocket worth a whopping $1.1 million? That's right, today, we're diving into the wild world of the 1971 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Yes, the same humble little penny most of us don't even bother to pick up off the sidewalk. A few years ago, I was cleaning out an old junk drawer. You know, the kind where you find expired coupons, dried-up pins, and that one mysterious key that you swear has to open something important. Among the chaos, I found an old penny. Turns out it wasn't worth much, but that moment kicked off my obsession with coin collecting. And today, I'm here to make sure you don't overlook your potential million-dollar find. In this video, we'll cover what makes this particular penny so special, how you can identify one, and of course, why it's worth a fortune. Plus, stick around, because I'll share some practical tips for hunting down rare coins without breaking the bank or your back. The 1971 no-mint mark penny isn't just any penny. It's a rare variety that was accidentally minted without the little mint mark indicating where it was made. Usually, pennies have a small D for Denver or S for San Francisco, or nothing, meaning it was made in Philadelphia. But what sets this one apart is the extreme rarity of a production error that led to it being struck on a copper planchet of exceptional quality. And if you're thinking, okay, but it's just a penny, think again. Collectors are willing to shell out insane amounts for rare, error coins like this. This one, it recently sold for $1.1 million at auction. That's a lot of tacos for a penny. Alright, so how do you know if you've hit the jackpot? First, check the year. 1971 is key. Then, flip the coin over. Don't literally flip it, though. We're not at a casino, and look closely. If there's no mint mark beneath the date, you might be onto something. Just because it doesn't have a mint mark doesn't mean it's automatically worth millions. You'll want to check for other details, like its weight, color, and condition. Grading services like PCGS or NGC can verify its authenticity and assign it a grade. Think of them as the Simon Cowell of coin collecting. They don't hold back. The value of this penny comes down to a mix of rarity, demand, and a little sprinkle of collector magic. Error coins like this one are highly sought after because they tell a story of how even the US Mint isn't perfect. And hey, who doesn't love a good underdog story? Now, you're probably wondering, where do I even start looking for something like this? The answer is closer than you think. Check your pocket change, raid that piggy bank, or dig into grandma's old coin jar. You never know what treasures might be hiding in plain sight. Also, yard sales and thrift stores are gold mines. Well, penny mines for overlooked coins. Just don't be that person who holds up the line at the grocery store inspecting every coin in the cash register. Trust me, I learned that the hard way. If you think you've got a 1971 no-mint mark penny, handle it with care. Don't clean it. Seriously, don't. Cleaning can lower its value faster than a bad haircut before prom. Instead, place it in a protective case and get it evaluated by a professional. Then, maybe start daydreaming about how you'll spend that $1.1 million. So there you have it, folks. The humble 1971 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. It's proof that sometimes, the smallest things can hold the biggest surprises. And who knows, the next time you're fishing for change at the drive-thru, you might just stumble upon a life-changing discovery. If you enjoyed this video and want more tips on coins that are worth real money, strategies for building your collection, and a whole lot of fun along the way, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Let's turn your pocket change into a treasure trove together. Thanks for watching, and remember, every coin has a story. What's yours? What if I told you that hiding in your pocket change could be a penny worth more than $1 million? Yes, you heard that right. $1.2 million for a penny. And we're not talking about some ancient coin dug up by archaeologists. Nope. It's a humble 1989 no-mint mark Lincoln penny. Sounds crazy, right? Well, buckle up because today, we're diving deep into why this little copper coin is worth a king's ransom. Spoiler alert. By the end of this video, you'll never look at your spare change the same way again. This isn't your average Lincoln penny. Most pennies from 1989 have a tiny mint mark on them, like a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco. But this bad boy? Nada. No mint mark. Zilch. And that makes it special. Why? Coins without mint marks are often errors, and error coins are like the celebrities of the numismatic world. Collectors love them. This particular penny slipped through quality control, and because of that, it became a rare gem. It's not just the error that makes it valuable. It's the demand. Imagine trying to find one snowflake in a snowstorm. That's how rare this penny is. Combine rarity with collector demand, and you've got yourself a recipe for skyrocketing value. Out of the billions of pennies minted in 1989, only a handful of these no-mint mark pennies exist. It's like winning the lottery, but even harder because you can't buy a ticket. You've got to find one in circulation. Okay, quick story time. A few years ago, I found a weird penny in my change. It didn't have a mint mark, and I thought, cool. Then I tossed it in a jar and forgot about it. Fast forward to last year. I'm researching coins for a video, and bam, I realized that penny might have been worth thousands. Long story short, I tore my house apart looking for that jar. Did I find it? Nope. Lesson learned. Never underestimate your spare change. Drumroll, please. The last time a 1989 no-mint mark penny sold at auction, it went for a jaw-dropping $1.2 million. That's right, a penny turned someone into a millionaire. Let me put it this way. That's enough to buy a luxury car, a vacation home, and still have money left for avocado toast every day for a year. You don't need to be a coin expert to start looking. Go through your pocket change, piggy banks, and old coin jars. Check every 1989 penny you come across. No mint mark? You might just hit the jackpot. Now, here's the deal. The 1989 no mint mark Lincoln penny is proof that treasure hunting isn't just for pirates. It's for all of us, with a little patience and a sharp eye. So, start checking those pennies, because who knows? The next millionaire could be you. Before you go, let me ask you this. What would you do with $1.2 million? Drop your answer in the comments below. I'd love to hear your wildest dreams. And hey, if you found this video helpful, funny, or even mildly interesting, hit that subscribe button. I've got tons more tips, tricks, and crazy stories about coins that are worth more than you'd think. Thanks for watching, and remember, every penny counts. Literally. You're digging through your pocket change, about to pay for coffee, and you spot a penny. You think, it's just a penny. But wait, what if that one little coin is worth more than your car, your house, or maybe your whole retirement plan? Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of the 2006 D. Abraham Lincoln penny, a coin that's currently valued at a jaw-dropping $1.3 million. Yes, you heard that right, $1.3 million for a penny. Buckle up, folks. You might want to raid your coin jar after this. So, what's the deal with this tiny copper marvel? The D mint mark tells us it was minted in Denver. Nothing unusual there. Denver pumps out billions of coins a year. But what makes this one special is a rare error. Picture this. A coin so perfect, or so perfectly imperfect, that collectors worldwide are ready to drop 7 figures on it. The error could be a double die, an off-center strike, or some microscopic flaw only visible to experts with magnifying glasses the size of Hubble telescopes. This coin didn't start out as a millionaire. For years, it just chilled in someone's pocket or piggy bank. Then, bam! One day, a sharp-eyed collector realized they were holding a treasure. Word spread, and now the coin is the Beyoncé of pennies, rare, highly sought after, and making everyone wonder if their own pocket change could be a jackpot. First, grab a magnifying glass or your phone's camera zoom feature. Look for that little D below the year. Next, check for errors, doubling, misalignment, or any signs that it's not your average penny. It's like playing detective, but instead of solving crimes, you're solving the mystery of your potential millionaire coin. Let me tell you a story. A few years ago, I found myself in the same situation. I was at a flea market, rifling through a box of coins labeled junk. There it was, a penny with a weird smudge. I thought, hey, why not? Turns out, it wasn't worth millions, but I sold it for $50. That was the best 1-cent investment I've ever made. Moral of the story: Every coin has potential. Why $1.3 million? It's all about supply and demand. Serious collectors are willing to pay top dollar for rare finds, and the 2006 D penny is the unicorn of modern coins. Even if yours isn't worth millions, similar coins in good condition can fetch hundreds or thousands. Not bad for something you find in a parking lot, right? So, what are you waiting for? Check your couch cushions, raid your piggy banks, and inspect every penny you come across. Who knows? You might be sitting on a gold mine disguised as a copper coin. And hey, if you love learning about coins worth serious money, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I've got more stories, tips, and treasure hunting strategies coming your way. Let's make your pocket change work harder than ever. You're digging through your loose change, maybe buying a coffee or feeding a parking meter, and bam, you stumble upon a penny worth a mind-blowing $1.4 million. Sounds like a fantasy, right? Well, it's not. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of coins to uncover the mystery of the 1972 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, yes, the one that's turning pocket change into retirement funds. Stick around because I've got the juicy details, insider tips, and even a hilarious story about my own coin hunting adventures. All right, let's start with the basics. What's the deal with the 1972 no-mint mark Lincoln penny? In 1972, the US Mint released millions of pennies, but some of them were struck without a mint mark, meaning they weren't labeled as coming from Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. This tiny detail is why this penny is now worth big bucks. The features of the 1972 no-mint mark penny Abraham Lincoln on the front, the Lincoln Memorial on the back, classic and iconic. Made primarily of copper, with a bit of zinc. The missing mint mark combined with a rare double-die obverse, a minting error where the design appears doubled, is what makes it special. Drumroll, please, $1.4 million in pristine condition. Yup, that's the price of a mansion in some states. Why is it so valuable? Only a handful of these pennies exist in flawless condition. Coin collectors, or numismatists, fancy word alert, go bananas for rare errors like this. Coins graded as mint state 67 or higher fetch the highest prices. Think of it as the coin equivalent of a pristine, untouched first edition comic book. How to spot one in your change? You don't need a metal detector or a time machine to find one of these. All you need is a magnifying glass and patience. Look for the date 1972 on the front, NO mint mark below the date, doubling on letters like Liberty or In God We Trust. Now, let me tell you about the time I thought I hit the jackpot. A lazy Sunday afternoon, me on my couch with a jar of coins my grandma gave me. I found a 1972 penny and went nuts, called my mom, my best friend, even posted on social media. Turns out, it wasn't the $1 million one, just a regular penny. But hey, I got 1 cent richer, and I learned how important it is to double-check with a coin expert. Don't underestimate the power of pocket change. A decent magnifying glass and a coin guidebook are your best friends. Join a local coin club or check online forums. Coins like this pop up in estate sales, flea markets, and sometimes under grandma's couch cushions. So, the next time you're tempted to toss your spare change into a tip jar, think twice. That 1972 no-mint mark penny might just be your ticket to a life-changing payday. Who knows, maybe you're already holding on to a little piece of history without realizing it. If you enjoyed this video and want more tips on finding coins worth serious money, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Let's make sure you never miss out on treasure hunting secrets that could change your life. Oh, and don't forget to leave a comment below. Have you ever found a rare coin? I'd love to hear your stories. You're going about your day, grabbing a soda or some snacks, and you get some change back. But wait, one of those pennies in your hand could be worth $1.5 million. Yes, you heard me right, a penny, worth $1.5 million. And today, we're diving into the fascinating story of the 1979 D. Lincoln penny that has collectors around the globe losing their minds. Could one of these rare coins be hiding in your couch cushions or that jar of change on your dresser? Stick around to find out. You won't want to miss this. All right, let's get straight into it. First, let's talk about the basics. The 1979 D. Lincoln penny. The D stands for the Denver Mint, where this penny was produced. Now, normally, these pennies aren't exactly what you'd call exciting. They were made by the millions. Heck, the Denver Mint could probably pave a road with all the pennies they've churned out. But one special penny from this batch broke all the rules. So, what makes this particular penny worth $1.5 million? It's all about a crazy rare minting error. This penny was struck on a copper planchet mint for a much earlier coin, creating a unique hybrid of old and new. It's a one-of-a-kind mistake that collectors are willing to pay big bucks to own. It's like finding a Picasso painting at a yard sale, but smaller, and with Abraham Lincoln's face on it. Here's a quick relatable story for you that a few years ago, I found myself staring at my old coin jar. You know the one. It's where you dump your loose change, hoping someday you'll roll it all up and take it to the bank. I never do. Anyway, one rainy afternoon, I decided to sort through it. I didn't find a $1.5 million penny, but I did find a 1943 steel penny worth about 75 bucks. Not bad for a little afternoon treasure hunt, right? Moral of the story: your change might be boring, or it might fund your next vacation. You never know until you look. Now, back to the 1979 D penny. Here's how you can identify if you have this golden, copper ticket. First, check for the D mint mark just below the date. Then, look at the coin's surface. If it appears thicker than normal or has unusual markings, you might have something special. Pro tip: if you think you've struck gold, don't clean the coin. Cleaning can damage its value faster than you can say $1 million penny. But here's the kicker. This penny is so rare, there's currently only one known example. Yep, just one. That's why it's sold for $1.5 million at auction. But who's to say there aren't more out there? Maybe it's sitting in your wallet right now, waiting to be discovered. If that's not motivation to dig through your spare change, I don't know what is. Start searching through your coins. Check those jars, those old piggy banks, even the pockets of your winter coats. Who knows? You might just stumble upon a life-changing treasure. And if you do, don't forget who told you about it, okay? If you found this video helpful, or at least entertaining, don't keep it to yourself. Hit that subscribe button and join our growing community of coin enthusiasts. I've got plenty more tips, stories, and strategies to help you uncover coins worth serious cash. And hey, drop a comment below if you've ever found a rare coin. I'd love to hear your story. Let me ask you this. Have you ever found a penny in your pocket and thought, this little guy is probably just buying me gum at best? Well, what if I told you one of those little copper coins might actually be worth a whopping $1.6 million? Yep, you heard me right, a single penny. Specifically, the 1975 D. Lincoln penny. Before you roll your eyes and say, yeah, right, stick with me. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for in your pocket change. And hey, who knows? You might be sitting on a fortune without even realizing it. Okay, let's dive in. First, what's the deal with this 1975 D penny? Why is it worth so much? Well, here's the story. In 1975, the Denver Mint cranked out millions of pennies, just like every other year. But here's the kicker. There was a super rare error in a tiny batch of these coins, and collectors are absolutely losing their minds over them. The error is subtle but worth millions. This penny wasn't supposed to exist. It's a transitional error coin, meaning it was struck using an incorrect die that was being phased out. Think of it like that one coworker who shows up to the Christmas party wearing a Halloween costume. Out of place, but unforgettable. Now, how do you know if you have one of these magical coins? Look for the D mint mark under the year. That means it was minted in Denver. Inspect the details on the coin. The error has a slight doubling in the lettering and the image of Lincoln himself. A good magnifying glass or loupe will come in handy here. The weight should also be slightly off. This coin is unique in every way. Now, I can hear some of you saying, that sounds cool and all, but who's actually paying $1.6 million for a penny? Great question. High-value coins like this are sought after by serious collectors who are willing to drop jaw-dropping amounts of cash for these rarities. Let me share a little story. A few months ago, I was sorting through an old jar of coins. You know, the kind of jar that every dad has sitting in a dusty corner. Anyway, I wasn't expecting much, just looking for some fun finds. But then, I spotted a weird-looking penny from the 70s. My heart started racing. Could it be the 1975 D penny? I grabbed my magnifying glass, did a little happy dance, and then, nope, just an ordinary penny. But that rush? That's the fun of coin hunting. So, my friends, the next time you're fumbling for change at the gas station or digging through your couch cushions, take a second to check those pennies. You might just hit the jackpot. If you found this video helpful, hilarious, or even just mildly entertaining, do me a favor. Smash that subscribe button and join our growing community of coin enthusiasts. I'll be sharing more tips, stories, and strategies to help you uncover coins that are worth more than you ever imagined. And hey, who knows? Maybe you'll be the next lucky person to cash in on a $1.6 million penny. You're emptying your pockets, and out rolls a penny. Just your average 1991 D. Lincoln penny. You shrug, toss it in a jar, and forget about it. But what if I told you that little coin could be worth $1.7 million? Yes, you heard that right, million. Suddenly, that jar of spare change feels more like buried treasure, huh? Today, we're diving deep into the 1991 D. Lincoln penny, why it's the Beyoncé of coins, and how you can figure out if you're sitting on a jackpot. Spoiler alert, you might want to grab that jar of pennies after this video. Let's start with the basics. The 1991 D. Lincoln penny was minted in Denver, hence the little D under the year. Now, most of these pennies are worth, well, a penny. Big shocker. But every so often, the universe likes to spice things up and spits out a rare error coin. And that's where the magic happens. So, what's so special about this $1 million penny? It's all about the error. This particular coin is believed to have a rare misstrike, possibly a double die obverse or an off-metal error. Think of it like a factory defect, but instead of getting sent back, it becomes the holy grail for collectors. It's like when a toy from the 90s becomes a collector's item because they accidentally painted Pikachu purple. Same vibe. Now, why is this little copper coin worth $1.7 million? Supply and demand, baby. Coins with rare errors are like the VIPs of the numismatic world. There are collectors out there who trade their left kidney for one. Kidding, kind of. One of these coins sold for that mind-boggling price at an auction recently. Why? Because it was authenticated and graded as one of the finest specimens ever discovered. Think of it as the coin equivalent of a first-edition Charizard Pokemon card or an unopened Star Wars action figure from 1977. Nostalgia and rarity are a deadly combo in any market. Okay, so how do you know if you've got a winner? First, grab a magnifying glass or a loupe. Check the mint mark, it should be a clear D, and look for doubling on the letters, numbers, or Lincoln's profile. If it looks weird or funky, congrats, you might have a contender. And don't forget to check the weight. Some errors are due to coins being struck on the wrong planchet. If it's heavier or lighter than usual, bingo. Also, if you're like me and your eyes are about as reliable as your Wi-Fi, send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll tell you if your penny is worth a Taco Bell meal or a private island. I once spent an entire Saturday sorting through an old coin jar my grandma had stashed away. I found a 1943 steel penny and thought I'd hit the jackpot. Turns out it was worth 10 cents. But hey, I felt like Indiana Jones for a hot minute. Moral of the story? Even if you don't find $1 million coin, you might stumble on something cool. And who doesn't love a good treasure hunt? So, what do we learn today? Never underestimate the power of spare change. Always double-check your coins, and maybe stop using pennies to prop up wobbly table legs. That 1991 D. Lincoln penny could be your ticket to early retirement, or at least a really nice vacation. Now, here's the deal. If you enjoyed this video, smash that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. I post videos every week about coins worth big money, and trust me, you don't want to miss out. Who knows? Your next trip to the laundromat could make you a millionaire. All right, folks, let me ask you a question. How often do you check the change in your pocket? Probably not enough, right? Well, you might want to start, because there's a little copper treasure out there that could change your life. Imagine paying for your morning coffee with a penny, only to find out later that same coin is worth $1.8 million. Yes, you heard that right. Today, we're talking about the 1987 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, a coin that could turn your pocket change into life-changing money. Now, before you dive headfirst into that jar of coins sitting on your counter, let me explain what makes this penny so special. And trust me, you don't want to miss this because by the end of this video, you'll be the coin expert in your group chat, guaranteed. So, let's start with the basics. What's the deal with the 1987 penny? It's not just any penny. It's a no-mint mark penny. For those of you who aren't knee-deep in coin collecting lingo, a mint mark is a tiny letter on a coin that tells you where it was made. Denver, Philadelphia, or San Francisco. But this 1987 penny? No mint mark. Nada. Zip. Just good ol' honest Abe looking back at you. Now, why is that important? Because the absence of a mint mark is a rare mistake. And let's face it, when it comes to coins, mistakes equal money. Big money. This penny wasn't supposed to exist, but a few of them slipped through the cracks, and collectors will do just about anything to get their hands on one. A flawless 1987 no-mint mark Lincoln penny recently sold at auction for, wait for it, $1.8 million. Can you imagine explaining that to your bank? Yes, I'd like to deposit this penny, please. No, it's not a joke. So, how do you know if you've got one of these jackpot pennies? First, grab a magnifying glass. If you don't see a little P, D, or S under the date, you might be in luck. Second, check the condition. Coin collectors are picky, so scratches and wear might decrease its value. But even a slightly worn one could still fetch thousands. Now, let me share a quick story. A few years ago, I was helping my grandma clean out her attic. She had this ancient cookie tin full of old coins. I thought, cool, maybe there's something valuable here. I spent hours going through them, and guess what I found? A 1987 penny. My heart nearly stopped. Turns out, it wasn't the no-mint mark version. But for about 5 minutes, I was mentally planning my retirement. Moral of the story? Always check, because you never know. Your next $1 million payday might already be sitting in your coin jar, your wallet, or even in the backseat of your car. The 1987 no-mint mark penny is proof that sometimes, the smallest things in life can be the most valuable. If you've got a penny like this, or think you might, don't let it go without checking first. And hey, if you're like me and you love learning about coins worth money, subscribe to this channel. I'll keep bringing you tips, tricks, and strategies to turn pocket change into real change, both in your wallet and your life.